I now older than all my favorite athletes? Did Bam get his revenge on Asia? Could you date someone that doesn't like sports, like at all? All this and more in today's episode of Sports Hags. Sports Hags, na 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 na. Sports Hags. We're Sports Hags. Hello, and welcome back to Sports Hags, a show for sports hags. I'm Toy Toy, a self declared sports hag. So it's been a busy weekend of sports, mainly football. There's been a lot of football on TV, but we're not going to talk about any of the actual games and the scores because we don't care about that around here. We only care about all the off the field action, what really matters. So let's kick things off. First things first. Sue Bird had a statue erected in her honor by the Seattle Storm. This marks the first time a WNBA franchise has ever put up a statue of one of their former players. So it's only fitting that it was Sue Bird. The statue was around 8 feet tall and weighed 650 pounds. And I took a look at that statue, and guess what? It actually looked nice. It was a nice bronze statue. It was different than Allen Iverson's statue, and it was different than Tom Brady's statue. If you recall, Allen Iverson had a statue put up last year and by the Philadelphia 76ers, and it was small. It was very tiny. It was an action figure of a statue. Yes, it was lined with all the other statues that were put up by the team, but come on, AI, he's a legend. Could you not have given the man a bigger statue or put it somewhere else so that it could have been a big statue? And I know there's this whole thing, I think it was on Legends Row or something like that. And everyone was just saying, well, it's the same size of the other statues and fair is fair. But honestly, after seeing the Sue Bird statue, AI should have had a much bigger statue. And there's the Tom Brady statue. Tom Brady had his statue put up by the Patriots like a week ago, and it is ginormous. It is a humongous statue with a teeny tiny little head. So the proportions are a little off there, and we won't even go into the Ronaldo statue, like soccer star Ronaldo statue. But Sue Bird's statue is one of the first ones where I was like, that looks like the athlete and everything is proportional. Leave it to a WNBA team to finally get a statue right. Love that. They did a good job with that statue. And still on the topic of WNBA players, we all know Asia Wilson, Las Vegas Aces star, is dating Bam Adebayo from the NBA's Miami Heat. You know, they keep it on the DL, but when they pop out, take pictures together, you know, they don't have to announce anything. We basically know they're dating, and this is like an amazing power couple. They've achieved so much on and off the court that like we couldn't be happier for this pairing. But, you know, there's a little bit of an issue in this relationship. The issue exists in pretty much every single relationship, and that is one partner is a clothes thief. We're not pointing fingers at you, Asia, but we've seen Asia out and about in what we speculate is some of Bam's clothing. So we've seen her warm up with the Miami Heat sweatpants, and we've seen her out and about in like a red do rag, which from some social media comments it suggests that she took that from Bam. So you know, Asia, like me, like all of us, many of us, is a little bit of a clothes thief. Like, you know, a little klepto for clothes. But Bam finally got his revenge because we saw some photos of Bam outside wearing some Las Vegas Aces shorts. And you know, they didn't look completely like they were his size. So we're pretty sure he got those from Asia. So she's around 6'4". I think he's like 6'9". So luckily for him, he could steal those shorts. So yeah, Bam 6'9", Asia 6'4". So he was able to fit into her shorts, and they look pretty good. I have to say, those were some nice shorts, and I'm glad Bam finally got his revenge. But don't let that be a lesson to you other halves in the relationship who don't normally steal clothes from the other partner. Just just let the klepto be the klepto and you stay out of it. We don't want to get into like relationship wars with like partners stealing each other's like clothes, and that's just too much. Just accept your fate, that you're dating somebody or married to someone that likes to pilfer your clothing, and don't you return the favor, or like don't start doing it back to them, because I can just see things going out of hand. But kudos to Bam for getting this one back. And we've seen him where like Asia Wilson's A1, so we know he's supportive. He's a supportive partner. So you know what? So what if he had like a little one time close theft incident? Like he settled the score now. So I think Bam, like you can stick to your own clothes and you can expect Asia to keep taking yours, as is, quite frankly, it's okay. It's fine. It's just part of the relationship. And speaking of dating, I threw a question out to my followers the other day, or members of my community. And the question was very simple: could you date a non sports fan, somebody that doesn't watch sports? And the responses were, I was just like on the floor laughing, not literally. I was more like leaning back on my couch laughing at some of these responses. They were so good, like so many cautionary tales. Let me try to pull some of them. Bear with me as I try to work the technology. Beep, boop, 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 beep. Boop, boop, boop. Beep, boop, boop. Okay. So I got about 60 responses here, some of them my own, like following up. So one of my favorite responses when I posed the question was, I did, and I'm divorced now. Another person said, yes, they would do it, but they'd be curious to know why they didn't watch sports and what other hobbies they have. One person said, yes, and I married her. And to paraphrase, another person said, it would really depend on how much the person dislikes sports. Like if they harbored a strong resentment for sports, that's very like different than, oh, I kind of dislike it. And that totally makes sense to me. And that response really resonates with me, because if you resent me watching sports or enjoying sports or talking about it, I think it's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. Like dating is hard these days, and I don't want to be super picky, but if you're gonna get upset because I want to go to a Sparks game, or I'm talking about like the outcome of a hockey game, I just don't see how it's gonna work, because that's not that I have to talk about it all day, but it's a decent amount of the things I do talk about. So if you resent it, like you actually get upset at it and dislike it and you're annoyed by it, like you just hate sports, you just think it's a bunch of like goofs running around and like putting a ball in a hole, or what skill or talent does this require, can they like save the planet, then it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And I would rather take the L in life and be alone like by myself for the rest of my life than like have somebody that resents my enjoyment for sports, or just resents sports in general. Now, if it's someone that just sort of like dislikes sports, or they're not that into it, and they don't want to go to games, they don't want to watch, that's totally fine. Let's not get too crazy here. It is totally fine if you're just not like a big fan. And so I won't watch the game with you. Or while I'm watching the game, you can read a book or you can partake in another hobby. I mean, that's fine. And maybe we won't go to games together. That's time I can spend with friends and family and others who do like sports. So there's compromises and boundaries there. But if you are just totally gonna like crap on sports every time I talk about it or think I'm dumb for liking it, you can take a hike, mister. Like, please close the door on your way out. Yeah, I don't, I know it's tough in these dating streets, but I have to draw the line somewhere. Got to draw that line. Someone also said, never again. They'll never do this again. And they forewarned me to protect my peace. And I agree. I agree with these comments. And of course, my study here is a little bit biased. All the participants are my followers, so they have a lot of them some interest in sport. Not everyone that follows me is an avid fan. There are a lot of people who are just like casual, don't know anything about sports, or just getting into it, or they like all the gossip, all the tea. So there's definitely some bias in my data collection. And of course, the algorithm is serving this question to people who are probably have some interest in sports. The majority of the responses, I would say 80% of them said no, or they cautioned it, or they gave examples of like how it didn't work out, that people, ruined different playoff runs and different series that they were watching. So I do take all that with a grain of salt. We do have a few people that said, yes, they can date someone who doesn't watch sports. They gave examples of other hobbies their partners do while they're watching sports. And they also, gave examples of, well, they have a lot of friends and family who watch sports, so they don't need their partner to also watch sports. So it can be done, but in my experience, if the person just hates it, it's just not gonna work for someone like me. If they're indifferent or they're just not big sports fans, then that's cool. We can totally make it work. But I mean, if I have to get into your hobbies, I don't know what's a hobby people have that I wouldn't like. uh Fitness. So if you like to go to the gym and I had to get into that, I no, I would go with you to the gym and wait for you. Hopefully it's like a nice gym like Equinox that has a cafe, and I can wait for you while you're at the gym. I mean, I could take a class or something while I'm there. I'm not too keen on the whole gym experience, but I could do it. Like I could do it once in a while. If you want me doing it every day or every other day, like I said, I will wait for you at the cafe. So let it be a nice gym. Yeah. Compromise. I'm thinking back to the Taylor Swift New Heights podcast episode, the one that literally like broke the internet, that I talked about in my last episode of Sports Hags. She said she was not like a crazy huge sports fan. I think she did definitely grow up around sports like football. I've seen some things from her past, but in the episode of New Heights, she was saying she was not like a huge, crazy sports fan, but she started getting more into it because of Travis. So that just goes to show your significant other can come around and participate in some of your hobbies. It's actually very important. They want to share their hobbies with you. Well, it's not a hobby for Travis. He makes like millions of dollars and dedicates his whole life to that craft. It's his job, but he likes sports in general. And I've seen him take her to hockey games, for example. And I don't remember her being a big hockey fan or anything before, but I do know Travis is a hockey fan. So we've seen examples also in the public where someone was not necessarily a big sports fan, but came around and they're doing it to just hang out with their significant other. And they, in turn, are learning things and they're actually getting excited about it and becoming like mini fans. To be like, you don't need to be someone that watches every single game and knows all the stats and all the scores to be a sports fan. You could just pop in every now and then, or you have a favorite player, maybe a team, you just like the stories in and around sports. So I think it's possible then to have a partner that's not crazy into sports that you date. Yeah. That would be the wise thing to do with the very tiny, teeny, tiny, polluted dating watchers we have these days. I suppose one should not limit the options based on sports fandom. I suppose that would be the wise thing to do. Let's be wise. Fine, I'll try to be wise. I guess I'll be wise. But you know what would be better than dating a sports fan? Dating an athlete? Mm, they don't exactly have the best track record, but I refuse to stereotype all these athletes. They might actually be kind of nice to date. And I figured out a way to date them. So I saw that the recording artist and musician Sweetie was throwing out the ceremonial first pitch at a game for the San Francisco Giants. And before the game, so before she threw out the first pitch, all the players were coming over to her dressing room to introduce themselves. You know, they just had to come see Sweetie in person. So they were coming out of the woodworks, like just introducing themselves to her, making little, like, cute little quips. Basically, they weren't going to miss their opportunity to meet her. So I then thought to myself, if you want to meet these athletes, you need them to come to you. You can't be thirsty on the internet streets, like going to them, dropping in their DMs. Well, actually, I think that does work. but I'm just saying, for an alternative, it's better to have them come to you. Let them meet you, not you meet them. So you need a profession, something that's going to put you in front of these athletes. So I'm going to start singing lessons tomorrow. Wish me luck. That, or maybe you have, like, a strong business prowess, or you started your own, like, catering company, dog washing, I don't know. Just do something where that athlete comes to you and not the other way around. And I think that is a good way to meet athletes. You're meeting them on even ground where they're not the ones being like, oh, well, I'm the athlete and I'm the special one in this meeting. It's like, no, you're meeting me. I'm not meeting you. Even if you're walking their dog or gonna clip their dog's nails, you know what? They're grateful for that. So they'll be feeling like, oh, I'm meeting someone who's providing like an actual amazing service here. And I mean, if you can sing or act or something like that, then definitely they're going to be impressed by that. I mean, I don't know what I have to offer. I'm not sure what I have to offer any of these athletes, but do you? I mean, let this podcast blow up. Yes. Help me reach the highest of heights with this podcast. Let them come on my show. I'm interviewing them. They need me. That's the plan. If you guys can help me out with that plan, I would really appreciate it. So, let's get like 50 views on this, guys. Let's get 50 views on this podcast. And before you know it, I'm going to have these athletes coming to me. I'm going to have my pick of the litter. Okay, I like that. Help me out. Help your girl out. Something, I don't know why I have constant allergies. I don't know if it's these lights, this environment, I don't know what, but somebody help me. Allergens are allergens are all around me and I can't handle them. One drawback though to meeting these athletes, and that is at some point, I'm not sure when, but I became older than all the athletes. I went from being able to say, oh my gosh, look at that guy, he's so hot, to now, oh, what a lovely young man. Look at him. His parents raised him so well. I hope he has a wonderful career. When did this happen? I miss when I was younger, or at least the same age, and could, say, hey, look at Derek Jeter. Well, actually, when I was saying look at Derek Jeter, I was much younger than Derek Jeter and should not have been saying, hey, look at Derek Jeter. But I don't know when this happened to us, but a lot of us, we are now older than a lot of these athletes. I mean, we have athletes like LeBron and Steph Curry. Everyone else, I mean, they're coming into the league in their 20s. They're in their prime, in their late 20s, early mid 20s, some of them. So at some point, I don't know when, but I got too old. I got too old, and I just have to be very nice and polite and respectful in the comment section. What a wonderful game, Xavier. Such a nice young man he is. I hope he finds a nice girl. But alas, here we are. I feel like I'm going to have to start watching that senior PGA league with all the old golfers because, like, they're older than me. But then maybe, I don't know, how old are those guys? I don't know what age. Is it SPGA, senior PGA? What's the league where all the older PGA people are playing in? But yeah, it's like, I got aged out. I got aged out of some of the things I love most about sports, which is the athletes and not always their play on the field. Such is life, such is life. We live. Such is life, such is life. So that's probably the best note to end things on. Um, I took my magnesium today, as I do pretty much every day. And I've been, feeling good and relaxed. And I feel like I'm ready to go to sleep in a couple hours. So let's end things there. Thank you for joining this episode of Sports Hags. Please join me if you consider yourself a fellow sports hag. We would love to have you. Till next time.